At this point, I hope you've had at least a chance to use our pre-seasoned inspection form. This service is a service that comes standard on every Yeti account that can be used on any site to log an entire pre-seasoned inspection form for each one of your sites. Similar to the pre-season inspection, we have now added in a tool that will allow you to create a form that, again, it's in that same format for any service that you have. So in this case, we're going to create a form for a post-storm inspection. So the first thing you'll want to do is create a service called post-storm inspection, which I've already done. So I'm going to scroll down to that service, and now I'm going to hit the edit button next to the service. And you'll be able to get creative with this tool. You don't necessarily only have to use it for inspections. You can use it for whatever you would like. But we'll go ahead and hit create inspection form. And now we're going to be presented with an option to either create our own, which we are going to do, or use a template. So we do also have the inspection form as a template that we can use to edit to make our own. That will be included in a separate video. But in this video for now, we're going to create our own form. So I'm just going to title this, and I'm going to call it Post-Storm Inspection Form. And then I can add a description down below, and I'm just going to be very unoriginal here and go with Post-Storm Inspection Form Description. Now you'll see next we have the opportunity to add in a section. So we're making an assumption at this point that we are going to have more than one section in this form. So for this first section, we're going to title this Damages. So the next questions here that come up are going to revolve around damages that have occurred at this site, or hopefully damages that have not occurred. We're just making sure they're not there. So down below that, we'll go ahead and add in our first question. And in this case, we will go with, is there curb damage? So then at this point, you've got the options. By default, this is going to be a yes or no answer. If I don't need a yes or no answer, I can also change this to short answer, number answer, take pictures, or site map details. If I need to make sure I'm being alerted, if the answer happens to be, in this case, yes, I can click here where it says trigger warning if answered. And at this point, I'll hit yes, done. At that moment, if I select yes, there is curb damage, it's going to be flagged on the report. If you need to translate this question, you have the ability to do that as well. I can translate it to Spanish, French, or Portuguese. If I need to duplicate the question to use that same format to create another question, I can. And then lastly, if I want to add in more sub-questions besides take photos and comment, I can do that here too. If I ever need to delete a question, I can click on these three dots here and then delete the entire field. But for right now, we're going to stick with take photos, and we're going to leave the option to add in a comment. After that, I want to add in another question. So I can do two things. I can either hit duplicate right here if I like this formatting, or I can hit the plus button to add a question. Now that I've hit the plus button, I'm going to add in one more question. We'll go with, is there damage to the building? And instead of a short answer, I'm going to go with yes, no answer. And the sub question here is going to be a short answer, but instead of allowing a short answer, we want to allow photos to be taken. If I want to add in another sub question, maybe I want a short answer also, I can do that. Let's go ahead and delete this for now. Now you'll notice here, I've got photos required. So at that point, if I need to take photos, it's going to be a requirement. If I want to then go ahead and add in another section, let's say for whatever reason, these are the only two damages I'm really concerned with, and now I'm ready to move on, I can click here where it says add section. And if I do so, I can now title a new section. In this case, we'll add in storage area. So what we're concerned with now is salt storage, equipment storage on site, making sure everything is cleaned up, looks tidy. So once we've added in a section, we are then going to add in a question below it. So for this first question, is the salt bin covered? This is a simple yes or no question, and we want to make sure photos are taken. After that, we'll go ahead and add in our second question, is equipment parked correctly? Again, this will be a yes, no answer question. And again, I would like photos for that option. And the last question I'm going to add in here is going to be, how many bags of salt are still available? And we'll do present on site. Instead of a short answer here, we're going to do a number answer. So this is required. They're not going to be able to skip over this item. And instead of taking photos or instead of adding in a short answer, I just need them to tell me how many bags of salt are present on site right now. So once that's finished, and I've clearly created a fairly short form here, and I want to make sure that this all looks the way that I need it to look, I can scroll up to the top and I can hit See Mobile Preview. So this is the view that an operator is going to see in the field. So if I select is there curb damage, yes, then I can take a photo. Damage to the building, no. Salt bin covered, yes. I'm going to take a photo. Is the equipment parked correctly? Yes. I'll take a photo of that as well. And then I can type in how many bags of salt are going to be available. If I did translate this, I can see the translation for either Spanish, French, or Portuguese as well. Last thing I will mention here, you absolutely will want to make sure you hit Save Changes. We will flag a warning if you try to exit without saving the changes, but just make sure you do this piece. And then finally, make sure you hit Save on the service itself. So I will save this. At that point, you are finished and you have created yourself an inspection form. If you have any questions, please reach out to onboarding@yetisnow.com.